Hello folks and fellow adventurers out there, this is Ron, Southwest Colorado Adventures, and I am here with my 2022 Royal Enfield Himalayan review. The question is this bike right for you? I can tell you that I've had a ton of fun with it, and I look forward to walking through everything with you. Hopefully it helps you make a good decision, and remember the goal of all of this information is just to give you information so that you can get out and enjoy the outdoors. Right, so it's warming up out here now. Got the sun coming down hard, melting everything, turning it into mud puddles everywhere we go. But I wanted to give you an idea of what the Himalayan looked like in proportion to, I'm 6 foot, about 220 pounds, and probably not the average height and weight of a Himalayan rider, although I'm sure there's ranges all the way up and down. Those proportions added with this 411cc engine are interesting. We'll talk more about that once we get inside. And I said I took the pads off of the foot pegs because when I sit on this guy, that little extra 3/8 of an inch was able to just open up that angle a little bit more, make it just comfortable enough for me to be able to sit on it without feeling like my knees were cramped up. I do have a tendency to sit at the very back of the seat. I think that's because it gives me a little extra height as well. I'm probably going to look into getting a taller pad for the seat. The windscreen, you can see it's right here. It probably needs to be really about chin height to be able to stop the buffeting. So they're finally now coming out with the Euro 5 2022 models, which is what this is with the Tripper navigation. They're coming out with the wider console windscreens now. I'm probably going to pick one of those up at some point, and I bet that's going to knock out the buffeting. I did one ride where I had the GoPro on the top of my helmet. I felt like a bobblehead. That was bad. But anyway, upright seating position, pretty comfortable. Nothing special, just very neutral riding position in my opinion. I like it. When I stand up, however, I do have to kind of lean forward a little bit. So I'm probably going to need to get the extenders to bring that back. I think they only come back 30 millimeters, but that's probably going to be just enough to make it fit just right. Anywho, that is basically all I had for out here. I just wanted to kind of show you how it fits me. Here's a pretty high-level overview of some of the features of the bike. Obviously there's the exhaust, which most people will swap out as quick as possible. Definitely that's what I did on my Harley, and I will do that with this as well. Just got to pick your battles and do one thing at a time. Here's what I was talking about. There's a pad that goes down inside there that makes it stick up a little bit further. I took that out to give me a little bit more room. Plus I heard that once you actually get dirty and get mud up in there, then you don't have much traction on that pad. I installed the GB crash bars on it already, and let's see, the fender mount, I did a little video on that. I raised that just with the leftovers from a wall mount kit, and the spacers that came in that for holding your TV worked perfectly. There's the missing indicator that I'm going to replace shortly after the crash. Other than that, I did have the Royal Enfield hand guards on this. The first time I dropped it, they lasted, but the second time they didn't make it. They were just demolished. The ABS went everywhere. Here's my phone holder. You can see it's Harley Davidson branded. I did scavenge that from the Softail before I traded it off. These handlebars are Renthal handlebars. Here is, whenever you turn it on, I don't think I've actually set the time. So anyway, you've got the miles per hour, you've got the kilometers per hour. And you've got an RPM indicator over here. You've got a gear indicator there / compass. You got a fuel gauge. I did fill it up once, but I've gone basically on 2 rides with that fill up, and it's still got almost a half a tank. So there's the tripper nav over there if you want to get turn by turn. Not really a big deal since you got the phone sitting right there. I know that you can also get GPS mounts that come up there. We'll look at all that stuff. Tank bags, saddle bags. I did not get the panniers. I did not get the brackets. Even though the brackets were in stock at the Harley-Davidson dealership, I probably will go back and get those at some point, because I think whether or not you go with the Royal Enfield branded panniers or something else, having those is really going to be handy. I've got some old, I had a wide glide at one point, and I got just some cheap nylon throw across the seat saddlebags, and that's what I've been using. They work, but it would be nice to have that support bracket right there, without a doubt. I will say that when I got the bike, the rear wheel was not aligned 100%, so that's something you definitely want to check right when you start off. It was a little squirrely when I was riding, and I thought, wow, this is just a different bike, it's not a Harley. And that's true, but that wasn't all of it. There was a reason. I did go up underneath. You can see the spring up under there. You can adjust it for preload. I adjusted it for preload. I adjusted it all the way, probably a little bit too much in retrospect. I'm going to crank it down 1, and I think that'll be a little bit better on the trails and some of the bumps. On-off switch here, start switch there, hazards here, high and low beam right here, turn signals there, horn there, and it doesn't work unless it's turned on, which is good because it is pretty annoying. One thing I did is, this is silly, I just didn't want to buy the USB yet, the USB ports up here. I just ran a USB cord from there up under the tank, and it comes down right up in here, and I've got a battery tender branded USB plug that when I'm riding, I plug it to here and then I drop that down. That way at least I've got my phone being charged and not being depleted whenever I'm riding. So anyway, there's a quick walk around of just some of the features on the bike. As far as the tires, obviously way more aggressive than the white walls that I had, and I really haven't had any issues with the slippage, and I've gone through some mud, through some puddles, on some slick rocks, so I think that's probably just about as good as I need for right now. Maybe later I'll change those. Anyway, we're gonna hop on inside now. Okay, so let's finish up with my thoughts about the Royal Enfield Himalayan. You know, I wasn't super clear at the very beginning. It is a 2022 model. In case you're wondering why I have my computer right here, it's because I'm hiding my notes right there so I don't forget to say something that I want to and have to re-record this. Anyway, so again, my previous bike, in case you don't remember, haven't watched the videos, I had a 2007 Harley Softail Deluxe, and the two bikes couldn't be more different. Why in the world would I trade in that bike, two-tone, all the chrome? I'll slip a picture in right here, so take a look. Why in the world would I have done that? Well, I don't work at a job anymore. I work at my house. I have to walk 100 feet over here to, well, you saw the garage outside. Upstairs of that we have an apartment, and that's where I do my work. I'm a voice actor. I've got my studio up there. I don't ride. I don't commute. And the reality is, in Colorado, if you do commute and you have to be at work at 7 a.m., then there's very few times of the year when it's much above 40 degrees at that time in the morning. So I just found myself looking at the Harley, keeping the battery tended, shining it up every once in a while, starting it every once in a while. I'd ride here and there, but not nearly as much as I should have. It was just such a waste. So then I got excited and I said, you know what, I'm gonna start fixing this dude up. So I did. I started buying some things for it, and my goodness gracious, everything I bought, minimum price $200. It costs a lot to tinker with a Harley. And as you all know, a lot of Harley dealerships have taken the Royal Enfield brand. So I'm thinking, okay, whenever I mountain bike, tons of fun. Great workout, but my goodness, it would be so much more fun to be able to hop on a motorcycle and hit those trails. I tried this one other time about 5 years ago. I had a Honda XR 650L. The seat was so tall, it had tons of power, and I'm not a good off-road rider. I've ridden street bikes since 1989. It just wasn't as fun as I wanted it to be. So I got rid of that bike, bought a Wide Glide. That was a great bike, lots of fun. Then I got rid of that, got the Softail Deluxe next, and thought I wanted the Cruiser. I just really like that classic style, so that's why I got that. But then I realized I wasn't using it. So I got the Himalayan to conquer all these trails around here. In southwest Colorado, from Silverton, Ouray, Durango, gosh, you name it, Delta, Colorado. This is just Colorado. I live in the Four Corners area that's right on the borders of Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona. And all over this area, there's Canyons of the Ancient. There's Moab within an hour and a half of here. There are so many off-road trails that I can take this Himalayan on that I could have ridden too on my Harley, but I wouldn't have been able to go up on the trails, and that's my goal. My goal has always been, with both this Himalayan and the Jeep that we've had since 2012, to be able to get up higher, away from the crowds, higher in elevation where it's cooler in the summertime. Launch my adventures from there. So whether it is that I want to hike or whatever it is that I want to do up there, just eat lunch, whatever, it doesn't matter. I can do it at a higher elevation. I can do it with a lot less effort. So that was a goal for this. And honestly, I've been thinking about an adventure type bike since the V-Strom came out. And that was a long time ago. I don't even know when. So anyway, I just pulled the trigger. So here's some interesting specs, and I'm going to put these on the screen. The Himalayan, the specs are, it's 400cc engine, power 25 horsepower, torque 25.6 foot-pounds of torque. The weight is 439, seat height 31.5 inches. Softail Deluxe, 1584 cc's, 75 horsepower, 92 foot-pounds of torque, 726 pounds wet, and a 24.5 inch seat height. Huge difference. Remember I told you I was going to give you a tip on how to make the Himalayan feel a lot more manageable? Well, don't buy a Himalayan first. Go buy a Harley Softail Deluxe. Ride that sucker around for a little while, and that'll make you appreciate the 439 pounds heavy that the Himalayan is. It's like riding a bicycle, honestly. Everything that I'm saying to you is coming from the perspective of somebody who is just now getting into this. The reason I actually got really excited about the Himalayan is it's accessible. $52.99 is the MSRP of that thing. I'm new into the market. I got an entry bike into the market. However, the area that I'm in is four-wheel drive trail heaven. So my goal with this whole channel is not about the Himalayan per se. What do you actually have to do to be able to get outside and enjoy the heck out of all those trails? Do you have to spend a lot of money? Do you have to get the fancy bikes? Do you have to get the big bikes that weigh even more than this thing does, but have tons more power? What are some of the things that I like about the Himalayan? The Himalayan is super light, maneuverable, manageable. I've dropped it twice. I've gone out on 2 rides up trails. The best part about it, I backed up to it, lifted it up, and then I was off to the races. No damage done really, except it bent the screw on the handguard. The other time that I fell was up in my Echo Basin ride. Now that was on ice, so that was a little trickier. So as I'm lifting, the bike is sliding. Finally it caught, and I was able to get it lifted up the rest of the way and hop on and ride out of there. The other thing is, there hasn't been a part that I've bought that is $200 for the Himalayan. Just the accessibility of upgrade parts, they're inexpensive. It's affordable. You know what, when I wrecked it on the ice, it actually did a little bit of damage, dinged the tank, stuff like that, but I didn't cry because that's exactly what the purpose of this bike is. What I don't like about it, the quality on it seems to be fine. I mean, it's definitely an econo bike, The welds are not beautiful. You know, there's a lot of little fit and finish things that aren't perfect, but they work. They're durable. But the parts, a lot of the parts have to come from India. So the lead time on getting the parts over here so I can attach them to the bike just takes a little longer. The biggest thing that I don't like about it, the first round of upgrades that I've made were to try to squeeze out just a little bit more oomph out of this thing. I've got a couple of hills around here on the highway that I can't go in fifth gear and maintain a 65 mile an hour speed. And I haven't even gone up any of the big passes around here. I have to shift down to fourth and I have to time it perfectly. And even then I'll go back down, I'll lag back down to 60 miles an hour. I mean, I just need to be able to go from being able to maintain 60, that's 5 miles under the speed limit, to 65 at least, that is the speed limit. I have a really hard time not going the speed limit. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there like that. Anyway, and I only use the bike, I don't use it for commuting or anything else, I only use it for fun. But I have to go on the highway to get to the places, to go up on the trails to get to the elevation. That's the whole goal. So I gotta be able to get there, and I don't want to trailer it, because that's just silly. So after all of that talking I've just done, the real question is, am I happy with my purchase? Do I feel like I made the right decision? Do I regret trading in my Harley? I liked my Harley. It was great having something shiny with chrome and very classic looking. I've had more fun in the 2 rides on this Himalayan that I had on my Harley the 3 years that I had it, or any of my other Harleys, honestly. I don't regret it at all. It is super fun. And the only performance concern that I have is being able to maintain 65 miles per hour on the highway, which is not what the primary goal of the bike is. As soon as I get off-road, I have no concerns whatsoever about its performance and its ability to get me up the mountain, because it did it just fine through puddles, through mud, wet rocks, snow patches, crashing on snow patches, all that stuff. It did just fine. So super excited. You know, the most important thing again about this channel is not necessarily the Himalayan. The Himalayan is a tool. It's just a tool. It's an entry point into the adventure touring market that is pretty darn accessible for more people out there than are doing it right now. And if I can encourage anyone to get one of these or something else, it doesn't have to be a Himalayan. I'm not a Himalayan salesperson. If I can encourage anybody to get outside, to get up in the mountains, if I can encourage anyone to do that, to get out and to enjoy nature and to have fun at elevation, whether it's in Southwest Colorado, Four Corners, or anywhere else in the world, that is absolutely 100% my goal. All I'm going to be doing is just documenting what's around here. Maybe once I'm finished here, we'll see what else there is in store for me. I've got a ton of adventures to go on around here to keep me busy. After that, we'll see. If you liked this video, if you found any of the information that I had to share valuable, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. You don't have to hit the bell icon and get those silly notifications. Some of us get really annoyed by those. When you have the opportunity to sit down and not be annoyed by a notification, then you can go through and see what new cool ride I've uploaded. I sure would appreciate it. Please comment. If you have any questions for me about the Himalayan, about trails around here, whatever it is, ask. I always respond. Thanks a lot, y'all. Have a great day.